we're still here in the kitchen rattling some pots and trying to come up with some healthy alternatives. So many of us cross culturally adore, love soul food. It is something that, well, that's why it's called soul food for 300 years. It's the stuff of home, it's the stuff that fills your soul. And what Yi Lang is teaching us today, Chef Yi Lang Smith, is teaching us today is that there's some healthy alternatives that you can still enjoy the same tastes. We've talked about instead of using white flour, use whole wheat flour. Instead of that bucket of lard you have there to fry that chicken in, try using things like sunflower oil, canola, peanut, some of those other lighter oils that they have zero trans fat and our body can break down.
Absolutely.
What are some other quickies that we need to keep in mind? Because everybody knows the soul food plate. If you're in America, you do for sure. And so, what are some other things that we can do instead that would make it still as tasty but healthy for our bodies?
Okay, let's talk about how we do our vegetables.
Okay.
Because I think that's important.
Yeah, because usually they cook them all day and the nutrients are gone. So
Right.
instead, what do we do?
Instead of cooking them all day, but also historically, there was a reason that those greens cooked all day. Families were working, people had to go to church, and they had responsibilities. And so grandmothers and mothers, in order to feed their families, needed to get their pots on. And they didn't have time to mind those pots. So they purposely set them up to boil that water with seasonings that would continue to mature throughout the day. And that's why you had those big pot of greens with tons of water and that ham hock in there for flavor.
I grew up with that every day down south. In fact, my mother used to put that pressure cooker on. We would go to church with the pressure cooker on. I don't know why we would do that. Can you believe it? That was back in the day. But we'd come home and the food would be ready.
That's right. They
Yeah.
wanted it ready. So now with today's palate and with all the information and with people traveling and with better nutrition for everyone in the Americas, we don't have to cook our food all day. Everything is more instantaneous and quick. So same to the vegetable. Let's nourish ourselves by wilting the vegetable. Wilting, what is that?
What is that?
Wilting is as opposed to getting that big pot out, you start with very little water. You start with your trinity, some onions and bell pepper and garlic.
Oh, I like that. Your trinity. Wait, say that again. Garlic, bell pepper, and onions.
And I mean, there's all types of onions. I use every one, the red onion, the white onion, the brown onion, even the green onion.
And you say if you don't like onions,
well, don't even tell people that you have it in there because it's going to dissipate. It will disappear. They won't even know it. But guess what? Their immune system will know. Their body will know.
Yeah.
The body naturally cleanses itself with those products.
I tell you, there's very few that are better than onion, garlic, and bell pepper. They are excellent for your body.
They're excellent. So you saute those things, and then you add your greens. Then you add your greens on top of it. Now, for me, I even throw a tomato in there to get that extra moisture, and then very little water where it just barely covers the top. Really? And let that steam for like 10 minutes as opposed to cooking for 4 hours. And then your vegetable is still alive and green. It's not green brown looking like mud.
Right.
It's able to clean you out. That's
right.
its purpose.
You know, it's so funny because I also remember as kids when we were sick, Mama would give us what we called pot liquor. And it was the green, the water that came off of the greens. And that is just as healthy, like a big old cup of soup or like tea. That's a wonderful thing to nourish your body as well. So you're getting 2 meals basically out of one pot of
exactly.
greens. So is it hard to open up a restaurant? I mean, I think there's so many women out there who know that they can cook. They do it every day, and they have a specialty. And is it hard to start your own restaurant?
This project was the hardest thing I've ever done, other than be born.
That was harder for your mother.
Yes, it was harder for her, certainly. But it's about resourcing. It's about finding information. It's about asking the right question, and it's also about never taking no for an answer.
Ah, you've made your dreams come true. Have you always wanted to open a restaurant?
Well, my mom, I was blessed, and I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C.
Howard.
And though when I was at Howard, I cooked my way through the dorm, and after I graduated, I went to Europe as a part of my internship. I cooked my way through Europe. When I was 7 years old, my mom, who was at that time going to USC, she came home. She smelled food. I'm 7 years old now. The babysitter was asleep. She makes her way to the kitchen, and I am standing on a chair. I have cooked a 7-course meal, and everything is done to the bone.
At 7 years old.
7, completely done. She fired the babysitter, and I've been cooking ever since.
Talk about a family business. That is an amazing story. Now, listen, when I come to your restaurant, you're not going to charge me all those high prices, are you? Now, don't you know? A lot of people take soul food and try to make it like the most like gold, so expensive.
You know what? And that's not fair. They charge you $30 for one chicken breast.
I know.
I think that's ridiculous.
So, what are your
value?
prices?
It should be value for. It should be value, and an experience, and it should be a place where people like Cheers, where they come back again and again. I want people to make it the spot where even a broke girl with her $20 and running over shoes
Can get some wangs.
She can at least sit up at the bar in front and meet her a baller.
You know what's so funny? I just what I love about soul food restaurants is there is that camaraderie. You all come there to bare your soul. You get to know everybody at the next table. It's what we call Southern hospitality or soulful hospitality.
Absolutely.
And I am so pulling for you, and I look forward to coming and trying, okay, I'm going to say it, tofu mac and cheese. And thank you so much, Elaine, for coming to Rose Kitchen today.
Oh, I cannot wait to feed you, baby.
Listen, I cannot wait to be fed. Tofu. Okay, good for you. We're going to talk American Idol when we come back. Thank you so much, Elaine.
Thank you.